you go. You just clip it on your shirt.
Like fancy.
I'll go higher.
Higher?
Yeah, right there. That's perfect. Perfect. Awesome. So, I forgot my clapboard, so action. So, the first thing is what I like to start off with. So, you can look anywhere. You can look at me. You can look here. You can look away.
Okay.
There's no certain spot you need to look. But first question is introduce yourself and share a little bit about who you are, whatever you want to share.
Okay. My name is Patrice Madere. I like to consider myself an artist. I feel like I don't really commit to one singular thing. I commit to whatever I'm doing in that moment. So I like taking photos. I like putting things together. I like the design of things, side of things. I like videos, editing videos, whether that's directing, being behind or in front. I like anything to do with art. So that's me.
Awesome. So basically, I feel you name things that bring you joy and fulfillment in your life. Are there other things that bring you joy and fulfillment, or?
Other things like activities or anything.
Activities, people.
Definitely people. People, music. Specifically, my family brings me a lot of joy. So anytime I'm near them or like close around them, I feel safe. I feel secure. I feel happy. And I find that within myself as well, but it's always nice when you can just reach out and extend your arm and have that so close to you, like in proximity. Music, I love all types of music, but compa, which is Haitian music, and it really does something for my soul. So anytime I hear compa or I need my spirits lifted, I could just play it and automatically like the jazz will just get me up and dancing. So that brings me a lot of joy. My pets bring me joy. Pretty much everything that I like, I try to live in a moment of joy, like all the time. So if things aren't bringing me joy, I'm not really doing it. You know, I'm not really like spending my time or my space there. I would try to direct my attention to something that is going to bring me joy. So,
Okay.
yeah.
What do you believe are your core strengths and weaknesses that define your character?
My core strengths, I would definitely have to say my resilience. I feel like I have an ability to bounce back from things. Anything that I kind of go through or anything that's kind of difficult, I have an ability to just like, okay, this happened and move on, move past it and continue pushing through. So I'll always say my resilience is my biggest strength. Weaknesses, I think sometimes because I count on myself to get through things a lot, like my resilience and like bouncing back and kind of getting in my mind and saying, hey, I gotta move forward, I have the ability to isolate. So I isolate. I consider myself introverted. So I'm like more of a homebody, and I will like stay to myself, and I think that kind of gets me in trouble sometimes because you really need community. You need to like extend yourself and experience other people and kind of like live in this world and not in your own world all of the time. So I think that's my weakness. I don't do that enough, and I want to do that so much more. So, yeah.
It seems that you have good awareness of, which is amazing because sometimes people find themselves like they're arrogant in a way of they don't feel they have weaknesses, but to like you said, mention that your weaknesses or to think of the things that are your weaknesses, it allows that you have great self-awareness. And so do you feel that compared to possibly like 10 years ago that you have already taken steps to like get better or to handle that weakness that you just mentioned?
Yeah, absolutely. I think moving here to Merida changed a lot for me. It's still very difficult for me sometimes because I am in my own world, in my own space, doing my own thing constantly. But I've been met with just open arms by people here. So it's been a lot easier for me to just be myself and kind of like anytime I need to step out and I have that awareness, I'll just like reach out to one of my friends and they're just with open arms invite me somewhere like, hey, let's go here or let's go there or I'm doing this weekend. Do you want to be a part or, you know, and just make sure that I feel included, I guess. So I have a community, kind of a small community of people here who would just, outside of my family, who would just like do that. And it's just been so much easier. I feel like when I was living in the States, it was a lot harder to maintain relationships. Like I've developed relationships along like my life in like high school, college and all of that. And I've held on to people that I check in with maybe like once every 2 years. but you know, and I love them. The love's always there, but life is going on, you know? Yeah. So I've checked in with them, but it was just a lot harder to like make those times to actually connect with people and like, okay, we're setting this date to do this and have a conversation and like really dive into that friendship and building each other up or whatever that may be or what we're going through in life at that moment. You need those conversations. And I was just always like, whether in work and then going home, working out, like just to myself, doing my own thing. So being here has allowed me to change a lot more because I'm comfortable in my home, but this is a new country. So it kind of like pushes me to like get to know the space and the culture. So I'm getting better at it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, as the years go on.
Yeah. So my next question is, how do you approach personal growth and self-reflection in your life?
With open arms. I definitely welcome personal growth. I feel like self-reflection is very important. It's always important to kind of just sit and evaluate where you are, where you want to be. Don't dwell on it. Like I've learned in my process to not dwell on it and get overwhelmed and being like get down on myself because that can happen sometimes and it does. And I feel like it's healthy in like doses. But I definitely feel like I'm constantly doing that. I'm constantly checking myself to see if I'm making a difference, if I'm growing, if I handled this situation a little bit differently than I did last time. And then most times recently I do, and I'm like, oh, I would have handled that much different like last year, you know? And now I'm handling it with a lot more grace. So I feel like it's very important and it helps us like throughout life, helps us be better humans, helps us be, you know, better people and you feel good. So I think it's very, very important.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. It seems that moving here has helped, you know, your growth as a person as well. Like not to say while in the States you weren't growing, because even I could attest to moving here, like a lot of things have changed.
Yeah.
I guess one thing I wanted to see is, do you feel as if, I know you mentioned that connecting with people in the States is much harder, which I do agree, especially in Los Angeles, kind of the area. It's always it's an interesting thing how it works. But did you feel that, or some people feel that they, you know, are 100% their true self at all times, but do you feel that you were put on a mask to be different people in different crowd situations?
In the States?
Yeah.
Yes. I feel like that now too. Yeah, I feel like that now. It's less, definitely less, but I only feel like that now when I have to get out of myself because like I said, I consider myself introverted and I like my space and I get in my own world and I'm comfortable there. So I'm working on bridging the gap and like getting into the community and like forming those types of relationships and being more open. And sometimes I feel like I have to like take off my mask because this is like what you have to do at home. You're like comfortable and you have to like show up and be this person that's a lot more, I guess, easygoing and more like ready for whatever's gonna present itself to you. And sometimes that doesn't come as naturally for me, so I have to tell myself, like, I prepare myself, like, okay, you're gonna go out and you're just going to experience and be, and not necessarily change your personality, but be more open and present and aware of the things around you, the things that people are saying, and listening to them, as opposed to being in your mind and being in your space and being in your shell. So I think, yeah. I don't know if that answered the question. Did that answer the question? The question was if I feel like I have to put on a mask, right?
Yeah, in different like areas, like if you're in different crowds or if you're around certain people, do you feel like you have to pretend to be, or not even pretend, alter yourself in certain situations, I guess?
My personal self, no. I don't think I ever had to really alter myself past my comfort level. Like, I think I'm very, I think people see me and know me and they kind of know what to expect of me. Like, I don't even really have to say much for people to be like, okay, that's something that Patrice would say because of my appearance, my vibe, or how I put off. I'm even in my professional world, like, I had boundaries, but I was also very relatable because there's just like a certain, I don't really fake the funk. I don't feel like I have to be all, pretty. Like, I don't do things like that because it's not comfortable for me. So that's a kind of hard question to answer. Maybe sometimes yes, sometimes no. A lot, not often though, because if it's uncomfortable for me, I'm not gonna do it. Like, if I don't feel, no. Yeah.
That's amazing. And what's great about that is, like, it shows, like, your comfort level of, like, your boundaries. Like, you have these boundaries and you're like, I'm not going to go past this and nobody's going to push me past this.
Yeah.
Or the situation is not going to push me past this either and stuff. So it's like, you're very comfortable with who you are and, again, your boundaries, which leads me to the next question. We all like aspire to be a certain version of ourselves, and I don't know, I guess the first question would be, do you feel like you're at that version of yourself? And if you are, how did you get there? And if you're not, how do you navigate the gap between getting to that person?
Okay. That's kind of another hard question because I feel like I am there, but I'm not there. So I say that I am there because I accept and I realize that everything in my past allowed me to be the person that I am today, and I know that the person that I am today is going to allow me to be the person I want to be in the future. So I accept all of the phases of life, and I know that everything is working in my favor, like baseline. But so it's easy for me to say that, yes, I feel like I'm there, but I also feel like, no, I'm not there because there's so much more things that I want to accomplish, so much more areas of growth that I feel like I want to experience. Because I feel like you never stop growing. The moment that you feel like you've stopped growing or like you've reached a max or your place, you fail because it's always going to be, it's just always growth is something that's continual and forever until your last day on earth. So no, I'm not there completely. I'm there right now. If that makes sense. Are you understanding what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And I think what allowed me to be in this space, in this moment in time or mindset, is my past. So going through situations, realizing the person I was, having those times of self-reflection and realizing you could have handled that differently. You don't need to react that way. You can take a moment, you can breathe, you know, like you can literally take deep breaths and there's nothing wrong with that. And then that kind of allows you to get in yourself. You cannot allow this situation to make you angry. And then when you realize I am angry about a situation, you kind of dissect it. Why did I get angry? What caused me to be this way? How could I have responded better? What was this factor, this person that could have been going through and had a bad day, and then I responded in the way that I responded and made the situation escalate. So I'm like constantly dissecting situations of the past that didn't go so well and seeing how I could do better, like be more of a light in a similar situation later on in the future and having something be less chaotic. So kind of dissecting the areas that kind of cause discourse in your life, and then moving past and moving on, and then forgiving yourself for whatever, how it handled, and thanking the moment, even though it may not have been a great moment. We still need those moments so we can move on and be a better person and learn. So, yeah.
That was very deep.
Okay.
It's funny because you kind of answered another question I was going to ask you. So, I guess, you spoke of, resilience earlier, and having resilience in tough situations is like a superpower for sure. Mm-hmm. And so with that, it's like, and you just shared too the steps you take to analyze situations where they may be hard to deal with, like anger, loss, mm-hmm. and different things. So how did you find the strength, or was there a key moment that clicked off in your head to get to that point that you just described earlier, where you
was there a key moment? Honestly, let's take it back to end of high school, maybe start of college, or maybe before that, where I started to pay more attention to like real relationships and what that means, instead of like, turn up, party, I don't care, because that was me, that was my life. I really didn't care about anything. I didn't care about the things I said and how it affected people, or, anything. It was more so like as I was getting older and kind of evaluating my life and the people that I had in my surroundings and my circle. And then also having my sister, like, who was different with me and handled situations differently and friendships and relationships differently. And I saw the people around her, and I was like, core people, like, I want things like that as well. So I remember having a conversation with my sister, and I kind of went through, and I was crying, and I was telling her all of the things that I've done and all of the things I wasn't so proud of, and I want to be, a better person, or, just receive things differently, and like also like be received differently, and like share more of my real personality, who I am, not just this party person who doesn't care about anything or people's feelings in life. Which and I did. I wasn't like rude. I wasn't like rude, but I was just like, I had less awareness of like my future. And she poured into me, and she started like pointing out so many things that I didn't even know that I was. And she poured into me, and she was like, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that, really building me up. And she was like, and just know that your life isn't over. So if you want to do something differently, you can. So that just kind of stuck with me. Like, life is not over. As long as you're alive, you have the opportunity to change and be a new version of yourself if you want to be. And then having her there to speak to, we were like best friends. So anytime I need to like check in and like get grounded, like she's always there to kind of guide me through, and kind of like boost me up and make me feel good about myself and realize, okay, I'm that bitch. I could do this, or I could change and I could do something differently. I don't have to stay in this space. So yeah, it was around that moment in time. I remember having a conversation with my sister, and that's when everything kind of shifted and clicked for me. So it was having that family support. Maybe that's why I'm also so very like cling on to always having family when I really need somewhere to look or like have a real life altering experience. I can just have a conversation with a family member and they just bring that clarity, and then I'm able to like continue to move forward, be a better version of myself. So yeah.
That's awesome. Wow. I don't know if you have anything more you want to share. It's crazy with this project I'm doing. I can see how things morph, and even like in the moment, like even last interview I did, I came up with an idea that I'm gonna probably continually do throughout. And a lot of times people, they tell people, it's like, oh, if you could tell your younger self anything, like what would you tell them? But I want to use this almost like, I like to use this project as a, keeping, what's the word? Holding yourself accountable. So 5 years, 10 years from now, what would you tell yourself for the version 5 years or 10 years from now?
What would I tell myself? I would tell myself it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, whatever comes to you in life, whether it's good, a little bit difficult. At the moment, you're going to get through it and it's going to be okay. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. I like to high five my interview. Making it another thing,